In Swallowed Star Episode 224, Luo Feng made his legend in a single battle, suppressing the Lord of Sirius and obtaining another top-tier true treasure, the Flame Sand Cup. The Chaos City Lord brought Luo Feng into the Universe Ocean ahead of schedule. While the Lord of Yuan Ao was being besieged by numerous Universe Masters, he decisively threw out a thread-pulling map. No one expected that this map was actually a fragment of Qingfeng Realm, one of the 3 great danger zones of the Universe Ocean. Qingfeng Realm was filled with countless dangers, but it also hid innumerable treasures. If one could seize this map, one could enter Qingfeng Realm more smoothly, and even obtaining a supreme true treasure would not be impossible. The moment the thread-pulling map appeared, nearly 20 Universe Masters began fighting madly over it. In the end, Luo Feng and the Ice Peak Master from the human faction managed to seize 7 fragments of the map. After the Lord of Yuan Ao self-destructed, the strange black divine wood was taken away by the Black Universe founder. With the battle over the thread-pulling map fragments concluded, the extraordinary space-time control Luo Feng displayed completely shocked every Universe Master present. His silver wing true treasure, which could control an area of space-time, was comparable in value to a pinnacle domain-type treasure. Many felt greed stirring in their hearts, but because of Luo Feng's already illustrious battle record, none dared act rashly. Only Yen Emperor was filled with resentment. He felt their teacher had been far too biased, and he secretly swore that he would one day surpass Luo Feng. At that moment, everyone noticed that the large number of true treasures left behind after the Lord of Yuan Ao's self-destruction were being carried away in all directions by high-speed spatial fragments. The Black Universe founder, who had already obtained the strange divine wood, had no interest in these ordinary treasures and turned to leave directly. The other Universe Masters each locked onto their targets and rushed forward at full speed. Luo Feng immediately set his sights on the Flame Sand Cup, a treasure that could greatly enhance his domain combat power. Coincidentally, the Lord of Sirius had also targeted this top-tier treasure. The two controlled the Sand Cup from a distance, pulling it toward themselves while continuously closing in on each other. When only the two of them remained nearby, Luo Feng decisively unleashed his strongest secret technique, constructing a miniature universe with a range of 100 million kilometers and trapping both of them inside. The Lord of Sirius activated the borrowed Dream Ancestor domain and launched a fierce assault, but he could not shake the walls of the miniature universe at all. Luo Feng then released a golden river. Under the dual enhancement of his golden domain and miniature universe, he easily suppressed the Dream Ancestor domain and trapped the Lord of Sirius completely. While the Lord of Sirius was unable to escape, Luo Feng summoned his Masha clan clone, which excelled at teleportation. In just a few dozen seconds, it crossed nearly 200 million kilometers back and forth, successfully taking the Flame Sand Cup into his possession. Although this move consumed a large amount of divine power, Luo Feng still had the Golden Horned Beast clone as a foundation, so his main body remained in peak condition the entire time. After escaping, the Lord of Sirius was both ashamed and furious. He felt he had lost all face, but there was nothing he could do. Luo Feng later reunited with the Ice Peak Master and received repeated praise from him. Not long afterward, the two declined the 9 Nether Masters' invitation to go to the Ancestral God School together. Through Divine Kingdom teleportation, they returned to human territory and immediately reported the entire course of the operation to the Chaos City Lord. After Luo Feng and the Ice Peak Master ended their operation in the Yuan Ao secret realm, they returned together to Thunder Island in the virtual universe. Luo Feng had gained a great harvest this time, but in terms of true strength, he still belonged to the bottom tier among Universe Masters. It was only through this trip to the Yuan Ao secret realm that Luo Feng found a new path to increase his strength. He unexpectedly discovered that the Shi Wu wings possessed a special ability to control spacetime, and he was fortunate enough to seize the top-tier domain-type true treasure, the Flame Sand Cup. Now, by stacking the power of the miniature universe, the Shi Wu wings, and the Flame Sand Cup, Luo Feng could suppress ordinary pinnacle domain true treasures. At his current level, he could already easily suppress opponents on the level of the Lord of Sirius. The two soon met the Chaos City Lord. The Chaos City Lord asked Luo Feng to give a detailed report of the operation. The Ice Peak Master took the initiative to speak first, praising Luo Feng for making a great contribution during the treasure seizure. It was precisely because of Luo Feng's Golden Kingdom, which could control spacetime, that he had been able to seize so many fragments of the thread-pulling map. This greatly surprised the Chaos City Lord. He had no idea when Luo Feng had obtained such a special true treasure. Only then did Luo Feng explain that this space-time controlling treasure was actually the Shi Wu wings that the Chaos City Lord had given him years ago. Later, on the original star, he had obtained another pair of true treasure wings. Unexpectedly, the two pairs of wings had fused together and become the current four-winged form. The Chaos City Lord and the Ice Peak Master were both greatly shocked after hearing this. Only then did they understand that the Shi Wu wings were actually an incomplete true treasure. The Chaos City Lord sighed. When he first obtained the Shi Wu wings, he had only felt that the material was special. He never expected that they were merely one part of a complete true treasure. He judged that the current Shi Wu wings were already among the finest top-tier true treasures, and they were still incomplete. Once fully restored in the future, they would likely become one of the finest among pinnacle true treasures. Luo Feng curiously asked whether they could be components of a supreme true treasure. The Chaos City Lord smiled and explained that supreme true treasures were indestructible and could not possibly be damaged and split apart, so that situation was impossible. What delighted the Chaos City Lord even more was that Luo Feng had actually suppressed the Lord of Sirius, who possessed the Dream Ancestor domain, in a one-on-one confrontation, and had even seized the Flame Sand Cup. One had to know that Luo Feng had not truly stepped into the level of a Universe Master yet, and his divine power was weaker than that of other Universe Masters. Originally, in order to protect Luo Feng, the Chaos City Lord planned to wait until he officially became a Universe Master before allowing him to enter the Universe Ocean. But after seeing Luo Feng's current strength, he changed his mind. The Chaos City Lord told Luo Feng that the primal universe was merely a cradle for nurturing powerful beings. The true battlefield was the Universe Ocean. There were not only ancient experts who had survived from before the Great Destruction, but also countless true treasures. In the deepest regions of the three great danger zones, there were even multiple supreme true treasures hidden, and even Universe Strongest could fall there. However, he also warned Luo Feng that for now, he could only move around the outer regions of the Universe Ocean and absolutely could not enter the dangerous depths. Fighting ancient experts there would allow Luo Feng's strength to improve even faster. Finally, the Chaos City Lord told Luo Feng to submit the contents of the thread-pulling map fragments. The Giant Axe founder and the Virtual Universe system would jointly appraise them, then calculate his contribution points based on his merit. After Luo Feng left, his heart was filled with anticipation for the upcoming journey into the Universe Ocean. However, just as Luo Feng and the others thought this operation had ended in a great victory, inside a small universe 10 billion light-years away from the primal universe, three ancient experts from before the Great Destruction were conversing. They proudly stated that the entire incident involving the Lord of Yuan Ao had been a trap carefully set up by them. The Lord of Yuan Ao was merely their sole slave, and the strange divine wood was something they had deliberately thrown out. They had paid an enormous price for this scheme, but this was also their final chance. If they failed this time, not only would the three of them completely perish, but their race would also disappear forever. The three of them swore that for eternity and for their race, they had to succeed in one decisive move. After Luo Feng returned to his divine kingdom, he stood on the plaza of the divine palace and looked down at the surging remote ocean below. At the same time, he connected to the virtual universe and began carefully searching for all kinds of information about the Universe Ocean. He learned that the Universe Ocean was truly boundless. It was filled with endless chaotic airflow. Not only did it contain the three great danger zones, Qingfeng Realm, Liuzhong Mountain, and the Universe Boat, but it was also scattered with countless universes of various sizes. These universes were mainly divided into two categories. The first was the one and only primal universe. It was the core of the entire Universe Ocean and went through a complete cycle of birth, growth, decline, and destruction. Every reincarnation would nurture billions of races and countless powerful beings. The second category was small universes created by Universe Strongest. After a cultivator broke through to the realm of Universe Strongest, their divine kingdom would undergo its final transformation and evolve into a small universe. Luo Feng then thought of the human race's initial universe. He guessed that after the original ancestor was suppressed, it had remained frozen in its initial state and could no longer continue evolving. He also realized that many of the ancient experts from before the Great Destruction were still alive. These people had cultivated for endless years and had survived until now in the dangerous universe ocean. Every one of them had unfathomable strength. Compared with them, the primal universe was indeed merely a peaceful cradle. 3 days later, Luo Feng received an email from the Chaos City Lord. After the joint evaluation of the Giant Axe Founder and the Virtual Universe System, Luo Feng had made the greatest contribution in the Yuan Ao secret realm operation and was awarded 1,200 true treasure points, exactly twice as many as the Ice Peak Master. What excited Luo Feng even more was that the Chaos City Lord was currently rushing back from the Universe Ocean. This time, the Chaos City Lord's strongest true body would personally bring Luo Feng into the Universe Ocean. Luo Feng considered how to use his true treasure points. These points were almost enough to buy an ordinary pinnacle true treasure weapon, but they were still far from enough for a top-tier domain-type true treasure or flying palace-type true treasure. He decided not to spend the points for now and to save them until he truly needed them later. Over the next month, Luo Feng remained in his divine kingdom, familiarizing himself with the flame sand cup he had just obtained. He constantly practiced combining its power with the Sure Wu wings and the miniature universe, making full preparations for the upcoming journey into the Universe Ocean. 1 month later, Luo Feng met the Chaos City Lord's true body in the Primal Secret region. This true body carried an overwhelmingly aggressive power, as if it could shatter the surrounding space-time at any moment. The Chaos City Lord brought Luo Feng by teleportation to a remote star region of the Primal Universe. There stood a massive Toya black hole. The Chaos City Lord told Luo Feng that there were 2 ways to enter the Universe Ocean. One was to break through the universe membrane wall and exit directly. The other was to pass through the Toya black hole. The Toya black hole was the strongest black hole in the Primal Universe. Its power had always been damaging the surrounding membrane wall, making it very convenient to exit from here. More importantly, after leaving through the Toya black hole, there were 39 natural wormholes nearby. The Universe Ocean was incomparably vast. Divine Kingdom teleportation and Dark Universe travel could not be used there. One could only rely on teleportation and natural wormholes to travel. Natural wormholes allowed one to instantly cross tens of billions of light-years and were the most important form of transportation in the Universe Ocean. The Chaos City Lord especially reminded Luo Feng that the Universe Ocean was completely different from the Primal Universe. Coordinates could not be confirmed there, so maps were the most important thing. Once one became lost in the Universe Ocean, one might never find the way back. For that reason, one had to leave an avatar in the Primal Universe. Furthermore, one could only teleport within regions covered by a map. In unknown areas, one absolutely could not teleport casually and could only slowly fly forward to explore. After saying this, the Chaos City Lord transmitted to Luo Feng the most detailed Universe Ocean map currently possessed by the human race. Although the map covered only a very small portion of the Universe Ocean, it already included the locations of the 3 great danger zones. Finally, the Chaos City Lord brought Luo Feng into the depths of the Toya black hole, officially beginning their journey toward the Universe Ocean. Luo Feng and the Chaos City Lord entered the Toya black hole together. The devouring and twisting force here was enough to instantly tear a Universe Exalt apart. But after being weakened layer by the force armor, it posed no threat to Luo Feng at all. The two soon arrived at the deepest part of the black hole. For the first time, Luo Feng saw the true body of the black hole. It was a black sphere 3 meters tall, its surface covered with dark golden secret engravings. It was this sphere that produced the boundless force tearing open a massive hole nearly 10,000 kilometers wide in the membrane wall of the Primal Universe. The two passed through the opening and officially stepped into the Universe Ocean. All around them was mist-like chaotic airflow. The pressure it naturally emitted was enough to reduce undying gods to ashes. It was far stronger than the chaotic airflow produced when Luo Feng unleashed his miniature universe. The Chaos City Lord told Luo Feng that chaotic airflow was the energy source of all universes. The purity of the chaotic airflow in the Universe Ocean was far beyond what the human race's initial universe could compare to. Luo Feng turned and looked behind him. He saw the boundless membrane wall of the Primal Universe stretching across the void like an enormous curtain wall with no visible end. His heart was filled with emotion. He could hardly imagine what kind of courage the original ancestor must have possessed back then to dare oppose such a colossal existence. The Chaos City Lord said that the original ancestor was the only being in all history who had dared contend against the primal universe. Perhaps only when Luo Feng roamed freely through the universe ocean in the future, to the point where even experts from before the Great Destruction were no match for him, would he be able to understand the original ancestor's thoughts. Afterward, the two teleported to a nearby area where 39 natural wormholes of varying sizes were distributed. Luo Feng compared them with the map he had received earlier and accurately identified wormhole number 15, the one they needed to take for this journey. Over the next 2+ days, they continuously crossed vast distances through natural wormholes, combining that with teleportation to travel. This was the main method of movement in the universe ocean. When the two walked out from a spatial vortex, Luo Feng was completely stunned by the scene before him. Floating in the void ahead was a small universe with a diameter of 100 million light-years. Its membrane wall had long since become broken and ruined, covered with hundreds of massive cracks and openings. Chaotic airflow passed through it freely. The Chaos City Lord brought Luo Feng through one of the cracks and entered the interior. What appeared before Luo Feng was a doomsday scene. Shattered spatial fragments, floating continents and mountains, and enormous divine corpses drifting slowly through the void. The entire universe was moving slowly and irreversibly toward collapse. The Chaos City Lord explained that the divine kingdom of a universe strongest would eventually evolve into a small universe. Once its owner died, the small universe would become like this. At present, the human race had already discovered more than 18,000 small universes, and over 99% of them had fallen into ruin, representing that their creators had long since perished. He then told Luo Feng that the powers in the universe ocean were mainly divided among 3 universe eras and 2 great holy lands. The current primal universe belonged to the 3rd universe era and was also the weakest one, because it had not yet completed a full reincarnation cycle. The previous 2 universe eras had more experts, and their strength was also greater. However, there was no need to belittle themselves either. Back when the original ancestor dominated the universe ocean, he was publicly recognized as an invincible existence. All universe strongest had to avoid him. The 2 great holy lands were even more mysterious. They were small universes left behind from countless reincarnation eras ago, and their diameters far exceeded those of ordinary small universes. Even now, they remained completely intact. The overall situation in the universe ocean was extremely chaotic. Powerful beings from different eras and different factions could erupt into conflict at any moment. The Chaos City Lord told Luo Feng that the 3 universe reincarnation eras were each divided into dozens of factions. Altogether, there were nearly 100 of them. But not a single faction on its own could compare with the 2 great holy lands. However, if all the forces of the entire 3rd universe era were combined, their strength would still surpass either one of the holy lands. Only when the 2 great holy lands were combined could they roughly match the full power of the primal universe. Luo Feng was greatly shocked after hearing this. He knew very well how immense the strength of the primal universe was. There were more than a dozen universe strongest alone, and the number of universe masters was close to 1,000. For the 2 great holy lands to be comparable to such a colossal existence, their strength was imaginable.